This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here with Jack Bosch. We've had a few technical difficulties, so I'm using a fake background and a cell phone, but we're going to get it done because, that's what entrepreneurs do. They just adapt, overcome, and whatever the hell it takes, you just get it done. Right, Jack?
That is exactly right. You just get it done. We have the motto in our company that says faster is better than perfect.
There you go. And, the content is all that really matters in this because we're trying to educate people. So I don't really give a damn what I look like. Jack, you're looking good with your brick wall back there and your all professional microphone. So you got your side covered. But mainly we want to get some content out of this man right here. So let's start with that. Give some people your background. I'll give some background first of all. I met Jack at Collective CG Mastermind a long time ago, and we kind of hit it off. And since then, we've been in contact with each other, not on a daily basis, but certainly enough to call each other good friends and business mentors. I'm always referring to Jack's book, Forever Cash. And We're going to be giving away a digital copy of that book today.
That's right.
Over in the show notes. I'm going to tell you how to get there in a little bit. But right now, I'd like to introduce y'all to Jack Bosch. Jack, tell us a little bit about what you're into.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yes, I second everything you said. We've become good friends. I look at you as a business mentor too, because you really understand the concept of wealth creation very, very well. So what I've been up to? Well, when I say we, it's like my wife and I started a company 18, 19 years ago where we flip land. So we are the oddballs in the industry. We do what everyone else says can't be done, which is we flip land for cash and for cash flow. So what I've been up to, I've been flipping land. We flipped over 4,000 parcels over the last 18 years. We have been teaching this for 12 years now. Students have great success. And what are we up to right now in the COVID environment? Well, we are trying to find places in the world to go travel to, which is not the easiest thing to find. But we did find Bora Bora earlier in the year because Bora Bora is open for Americans. And since I live in Phoenix, Arizona, from Phoenix to LA, you got to take a COVID test before. But Bora Bora is basically, or French Polynesia is COVID free. So we were able to hang out there for 2 weeks and going back right now for Thanksgiving and because we love traveling, we love doing deals, we love teaching people deals, and we love traveling around the world.
You're doing this land, and you're doing it virtually, right? Like you'll do it all over the nation. Do you do it out of the nation?
Yes. So let's jump into that. So our land flipping works completely remote, completely location independent. It works best in the United States, but it works from outside of the United States. So we just had a Canadian couple report to us just 2 weeks ago that in the first 5 months of this year, well, not of this year, but in the last 5 months, so in the middle of the COVID pandemic, they made over $500,000 in cash flow and equity on deals that they did from Canada. Like people from Germany. I'm originally from Germany. I came here about 23 years ago to basically finish my college degree. Met my wife here, my wife, Michelle, who is the co-founder of our company. And she and the CEO of our company, she is from Honduras, Central America. We are in this business for many years. But the key is you can do this from anywhere in the country and from even outside the country in the United States. And what we basically do is we basically specialize on properties worth anywhere between $500,000 and $200,000. That's our sweet spot that we pick up from people who no longer want them. And that's one of the keys. We're not looking for motivated sellers. We're looking for people really that don't want these properties anymore. And we're picking them up for 5 to about 30 cents on the dollar. So a $100,000 property we might pick up for 30 grand and then go sell it for 60 grand. Now, why does it sell quickly? Because it's 60 grand. It's a smoking deal, right? Or a $200,000 property. Like my brother right now has a deal on a contract. My brother, after 18 years of seeing us, finally got into the game. He has a deal on a contract right now that's worth $250,000. He went a little higher. So he offered half market value of $125,000, but it could also be worth up to $280,000. And you're going to go flip it for 175 to 200. That's a no-brainer. Properties all day long in that area sell for 250. So he lists his for 280, 290, 180 to 190. He's going to make a $50,000 to $60,000 on the profit on that deal like that. And we do that from all over the. You can do that from all over the world.
So my question is, if it's worth 250, why are you flipping it for way under? I mean, I understand to move fast, but aren't you leaving a lot of money on the table?
Yes, we are, but there's a trade-off in land. Land sold, unless it's a super hot area, right? If it's like in Phoenix, Arizona, where we live, there's an area in town where a company that Bill Gates just invested in, they bought 20,000 acres, and another big developer bought enough, like 30 or 40,000 acres, enough to build houses for like 300,000 people. And that pocket for a little bit until it cooled down was really hot. So everything sold at market, and market prices were going up very rapidly. In such a pocket, you can list at market value and a property sells quickly. Most of the country, though, is land is desirable. Land is sexy again. Land is cool. People want to have a piece of land. People want to build that house to get away from the weekend. They're sick and tired of being in their houses in COVID and stuff like that. So land sells, but land sold at market value tends to sit for up to 6 months or up to a year before it sells. So land sold at market value sells substantially slower than houses sold at market value. So therefore, in order to accelerate the sale, you got to drop the price a little bit, and the further you drop it, the faster it sells, obviously. So
okay, so I mean, but look, obviously, you buy something from 180, you sell it for 225. It's a good day. I'm not complaining, you know, like right. So because I'm always the guy that says, hey, leave a little room for the other guy and get to the next deal. And a real house entrepreneur or property investor and entrepreneur knows there is another deal tomorrow and another deal the day after that and another deal the day after that. Maybe the play is you flip a couple, you got 40, 50,000 in the bank, you're feeling pretty good. You can hold out for 6 months for this one now while you're doing a couple of other ones.
Exactly right. Now it happens that this deal is the very first deal my brother came along.
So he needs to get paid and get some confidence and get some jingle in his pocket and get his wife off his ass.
Right. Well, his wife is participating with him. They're doing this together. So they're all.
I was joking.
No, you know. I know that happens. Like the family members often are the negative ones, and you got to show them some coin. You got to show them some money in order to get their buy-in. 100% with you, right? Because for most people that try this, most people that start with us, this is not their first rodeo. They're not usually 18 years old, and this is the first thing they find in life. I wish those that do come at 18 years old and their first thing, great, we just saved them a lot of trial and error in their life. But often these are people in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They already tried 3 other coaching programs that produced nothing for them, and now they're coming to us, and they're looking at that, and it makes sense, and they're getting it. But yeah, everyone's watching them, and everyone's like, oh, he's going to fail again, or she's going to fail again, and they need to be paid. So my brother's case, could I float the money for him? Could I lend him the $125K to buy this property, or could we find a private lender that buys that lends him the money for that, and then he holds out to sell it for 250 or 280? Absolutely yes. But as you said, it's his first deal. His confidence level, even though I'm his own brother, his confidence level in himself on being able to do it. It's not the confidence in me. The confidence in me is there. He knows it works, but the confidence, it's the confidence that people, the lack of confidence in themselves of the thinking, can I do this? That thing skyrockets, even if they just make 25 grand on that deal, if he just sells it for whatever it is. So it's all about raising that confidence to the first 2-3 deals. And then, they're like, now this works. Now I know it. Now they're open to taking on a $125,000 loan, sitting on a property for 3/4 of the year to then make $150,000 on it.
Okay, so number one, I call that hush money. So we need to put some hush money in the bank and enough money so that everyone will just shut up and leave you alone for a little while. I'm glad he doesn't have that issue, but it's so critical that sometimes just to get your first deal done, it doesn't matter if it makes $5,000 or it makes $500. You need to make a profit and
Right.
prove to yourself you can do it. I have people ask me all the time, Mitch, does this stuff really work? I said, what do you mean does it really work? I've been living off of it and getting wealthy really for the last 20 years. Of course it works. That's not the question. The question is, can you do it? And if I'll try to help you, but I can't do it for you. And
Right.
I think you also mentioned, the 18-year-olds, they may be more pliable and easier to teach and less likely to have to unlearn things than the older people. I think it's just like learning to play the piano. It's a lot easier when you're really young than it is at 50 to learn how to play a piano.
Tell me about that. I just started piano lessons again. I stopped at age 10 and started it last year again. Holy finger, my fingers are stiff. I'm advancing, but it's a whole lot harder now than it was back then. Yes.
Good. We'll write a song together when you get up to speed here.
There we go. Yeah.
So you don't need money to do this. I mean, let's don't split hairs here. You need a little bit of jingle in your pocket.
Sure.
I don't know, some amount. You need to at least be able to pay for the course of the mentor. But I'm saying you don't have to be over the top wealthy or have a big savings account to get this done, right?
Right. I mean, I always compare it to just the simplest of franchises is something like a Subway franchise store. A Subway franchise store costs you between $250,000 and $400,000, depending on size and location, in franchise fees, in store build out, in training costs, and all this kind of stuff before you even open the door. Right. And then you have to have a bunch of employees, have to work 3 shifts because this thing is open from 8 in the morning till 10 at night or so. That's more than 2 shifts usually. You have to have the weekend. It's open 24/7 or like 7 days a week. You have to have different shifts at work on different days. You have to do accounting. You have to do bookkeeping. You have to open the store, close the store, order stuff. And then the average American franchise owner of a Subway franchise owner makes $60,000 a year for all that work. You don't have to have that kind of money to start land flipping, right? You have to have money, yes, for the course, mentoring if you want to, and then you have to have a little bit of money for marketing. Other than that, you don't need any money because the typical deal that our students are doing these days is that they get a deal like one of our students, he's from India, Anshul, his very first deal, he got a deal on the contract for $60,000. Again, it's a deal where he left a lot of money on the table, but it was one of his first deals for $60,000. It was worth probably $150,000. He sold it for $108,000 or $48,000 spread. And he did a double closing, like a double closing where the buyer's money was used to pay everyone in the transaction. So the buyer wired in $108,000 or $109,000. The title company took $2,000 or $3,000. The seller got his $60,000, and $46,000 profit went to Anshul, who spent exactly zero money on the deal other than a few $100s in marketing, right? To actually get the deal, because we do a direct mail system. So we send letters out to people that we have identified based on our selection criteria as high likelihood candidates of not wanting their properties anymore. When we send out letters, we get a response rate from anywhere between like 2 or 3 and as high as 10%, because we're dealing in a non-competition environment. House flippers typically get like a quarter or 1 or 2% or so. We start typically at 2%, go all the way to 10, sometimes even 15% response rates. And then we go make those people an offer, and then some accept, right? So my brother right now sent like 2,500 letters out, and he got 4 deals accepted already. So that basically is an average of about 625 letters per accepted offer. In other words, it costs you about $400 in marketing to get a deal that you make thousands of dollars on, and including one that he's going to probably make like 30 grand, one is going to make like 50 to 75 grand, one is going to make 10 grand, and the fourth one just came in yesterday, so I don't know what he's going to make on that one. So, but bottom line is that worth it? Yeah. So you need a little money for marketing, but you don't need. Let me
jump in.
125K to get the deal.
Let me jump in though, because
Sure.
I'm always a fan of that. I always got to talk about the downside, all the stuff. How much did he have invested in you? I mean, how much did he pay to get your tutelage?
Well, in this case, it's my brother. He got it for free, right? But
no, he's in India.
No. My brother's in Germany, but I talked about two different guys.
Yeah.
The guy that did it from Germany, the Indian guy, he lives in the United States, but he does it from the United States. He's about to move to Canada, though, because getting a green card as an Indian citizen is much harder than getting it as a German citizen. So he's about to move to move to Canada, and then continue doing deals from Canada. But the guy, this guy, his name is Anshul. How much had he invested? He bought our course and he bought our software because we have a kick-ass. Sorry, hope I can't say that word here.
It's okay.
A great software that's a deal automation and workflow software that has integrated websites and has integrated buying website, selling website, integrated data feed, integrated mailing house. So it's automates like 75% of the steps that you do in the process. So he has the software, he has the course, and with that, he was able to do it. Now, other people need more hand-holding. They engage in coaching. Coaching is different price points, but in this case, he was in for about $2,500. That's
my point.
Yeah,
that's my point.
And
this guy's made $40,000 with
right.
A $3,000 or $3,500 investment, and he had to spend some time. He had to get committed. He had to learn. Right? There's no free way to make a lot of money. There's hardly a free way to make a little bit of money. So, right. So I just want to make sure we're painting the right picture for people, but it's a no-brainer. And what I really like about your system is it's a national. You're open to the nation. You're open to the nation. Wow, you want some tax write-offs and you want to go someplace. You can write off just about every place you want to go if you right. find a lot there for a little bit of nothing.
We go to, and it's not like you have to buy a lot when you go there. You just need to go look at it, because not every deal that you look at, you end up buying, right? If you drive down the road. You
could say, I'm going to Florida to look at a lot. You buy your airplane tickets and you might stop by Disneyland on the way out.
Right. You go visit the county, perhaps get a few maps, go talk to them, go to like the zoning department, or so get a database of their county lists or something like that, and document that. We do the same thing when we go to Hawaii. Like when it's open again, we'll go there usually twice a year. We go to Hawaii. We love it. It's our kind of happy place. And we go visit the county offices, or we go make an appointment with a broker, because we love real estate anyway, right? We go look at some stuff. We go take some pictures and so on. So if the IRS ever comes, we can prove that we actually spend time on looking for real estate in there. Whether or not we buy something is a different question, right? Now, of course, if I find a great deal, I'll go make the offer and so on. But again, the thing is, or we own land on Hawaii right now. Actually, we bought some lots, and we're also always holding a couple back that we're not selling so we can go visit them and so on. I'm not going to make the impression that you should talk to your CPA about that to make sure you do this in a proper, safe, and legal way. But bottom line, there's definitely ways that you want to go to, I don't know, to Idaho, visit your family. Guess what? There's land there. So you go for Thanksgiving, visit your family, and then you also go look at some land out there. You potentially, check with your CPA, might have just made that trip tax deductible. Yes.
Yes. So let's talk about, I got two things. I want to talk about a case study that was just brilliant and over the top. Maybe one that really stands out. And then I want to talk about a case study where things didn't go so well and maybe the worst happened. Okay.
Well, a case study where everything is fantastic is a deal that we did last year. It's just such a perfect example. So there's this infill lot. So an infill lot, obviously everyone knows what that means. It's a street, 35 houses, one empty lot, ready to be filled in with a house, right? That's why they're called infill lots. So there's an infill lot in a part of Phoenix, Arizona that I live in, where we send out some letters in that area. Owners called us back. We made some offers. One guy accepted this multifamily zoned lot. Now it's a small lot. You can put like a fourplex on it, but or 4 to 6 units. He accepted our offer for $5,000 on that property. And there used to be a house on there. It burned down. There's nothing fun, nothing. There's no environmental issues. We checked all of that. So we actually bought that property. So we used our own money to buy this property for $5,000. It's not a big deal. I figured, hey, $5,000, what the heck? So then we immediately.
Let's talk about that for a minute. The house burned down. They probably already collected all the insurance money that they were due, and now they got this lot in their name that has a slab and and it's black because from the smoke. And so they said, they don't care. They got paid. They got paid by the insurance company.
Exactly
so
right.
They said, give me $5,000, it's yours, right?
Right, exactly. So we bought this property for $5,000. Then we put it up on the market, and we literally put it on like Zillow and Facebook Marketplace, 2 completely free resources, right? So anyone that owns a property or has it on a contract can put it on Zillow, and you can put it on Marketplace. Our contract that we have with our sellers, even if you don't own it yet, gives you the right to remarket the property. So therefore we marketed the property. It took less than 2 weeks. Somebody offered us $67,000 for that property and gave us $6,500 as a down payment. So now basically we carried back a note, the seller financing deal, something you're very familiar with, right? Because sell lots of houses seller financing. We have a seller financing note for $60,500. Let's call it $60,000. And we got more than our $5,000 that we paid for the property as a down payment. So within 2 weeks, we paid $5,000, we got $6,500 back. We're in the hole. We're safe, right? We got, even including closing costs, we're like $500 ahead of the game right now, right? So now we sign them with a contract for deed, so it doesn't even have to go on the sales site, doesn't even have to go to title companies. So we just had them sign a contract for deed that they make in monthly payments, and now they're paying us like they needed a low payment. So we agreed to a low payment of, I think, $430 a month for the next 20 years. So we agreed to a 20-year note. The profit on that property is going to be $111,000 over the next 20 years. $111,000 or $120,000. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but
they're good enough, though. Good enough.
We took a deal for $5,000, got our money back almost instantly, and now we're making $120,000 off that property in the next 20 years. And the nicest part about it, because it's seller financing and because it's a piece of land, they're not even destroying the property. If anything, they're improving the property, right? Because if they start building a sixplex on there, something, chances are we're going to get bought out by the lender at that point. But if they buy it with their own money and they build it and they default anytime, we get now the property with a sixplex on it. Or if they do nothing and they default down the road, so what? Then we just foreclose on it, which in certain states on a contract for deed, you can foreclose in 3 weeks and it costs $50. And then we get the property back, and now we resell it for another $67,000. But the bottom line is they're not destroying anything. They're not stealing anything because it's just land. It's the purest way of cash flow.
I wanted to point out one other scenario. They go and they start building a house on it out of their pocket. So there's no lender trying to get a first lien position. They build this fourplex, which is worth what? $250,000 more. Okay.
Right.
And so now your $60,000 note is probably, you won't even have to discount it to cash out of it. You go find a note buyer. It's so secured that, the best thing, the worst thing would ever happen is that they just kept making their payments on time. And the best thing for the note buyer would be if they quit making their payments and they got a $300,000 property back.
Right. Exactly.
So there's a lot of different scenarios, man, on that deal. I could see it 9 ways to Sunday. So
yes, and the other part is that even if the lender wants to get the first lien position, they're going to cash out at face value, right, of whatever's being owed. So it's like selling the note with zero discount, because they're just going to cash you out. If at that point they still owe $55,000, well, they're going to give us $55,000 because that's the balance of the note. So whichever way, there's only one way for us, and that is to win. Right. So it's, but the other guy wins too, because he couldn't afford for bank financing at the time. He couldn't afford for a loan right there. He now gets to do only a low payment of $430 for the next 20 years while he builds up his cash and his credit and his relationships and things to be able to build. So it's a win-win for everyone. And the seller gotten his $5,000 on top of insurance money. So it's really a win-win. So let's talk about another case, a case where things didn't go as well as we thought, right? Are you ready for that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So unfortunately, I have to disappoint you. I don't have many bad cases like that, because when you buy something for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, all hell has to break loose for you to lose money on a deal. But we did manage to lose money in about 5 or 7 deals. And here's why we lost money. Because we stopped following our own process. We started believing our own press releases, and we started thinking that we're better than we actually were. And that's where we made the mistake. So our process works such that and I'll tell you the deal, but it's kind of important to have that little background information. Our process works such that everything is designed such that you have the least amount of work up front, and you only do all the necessary detailed research once you have a deal under contract. So if you send out 1,000 letters and you get 100 phone calls, we do almost no research on the $1,000 letters, basically just to identify a good county, right? But then on the 100 people that call us, we do very minimal research, because just to figure out what the value is, then we make our offers, and then of those 100 offers, let's say we get 3 accepted, on those 3, we do a deep dive and figure out all the details. So here's what we did. We had experience in a certain area. We already bought dozens of properties. They all used to be like 1-acre properties worth like about $15,000. We made our $1,500 offer on these properties, got them under contract, sold them for $10,000, made $8,500 or $8,000, just live happily ever after. Deal after deal after deal in that area. So we went back in that area, and we got us just a little bit over in a different area, got a whole bunch of phone calls from properties. Subdivision looks exactly like the same way. Houses everywhere, empty lots everywhere. It was like, great, wonderful. So we made our offers for these properties. We figured, okay, they're a little smaller, perhaps they're only worth $10,000. So let's offer like $800 on these properties. I got like 7 under contract. And then it's like, okay, great. We know the area already. We don't need to do any research. So we just went and bought these properties, paid $800 plus a little bit closing cost. In these kind of deals, we actually closed them without title companies. We did our own title searches, did our own document draw up, and we bought them for $800. And then we went and sold them. And what is our surprise? They're not buildable. Now, why the heck are they not buildable if we just bought plenty of them that were buildable? It's like, because they were only half an acre, and there's houses all over. It's like, how they're not buildable if right next door there's a house? It's like, well, what we skipped the research, and one of the steps that we do every single time, at the moment we get a property under contract before we buy it, because our contract, always a very simple contract, it always gives you the right, it literally has written in there, the buyer, meaning us, has the right to back out of the contract, cancel the contract anytime for any reason. So we can always get out of our contracts. And so, plus we have no escrow deposit at stake. Our contracts have we don't put any escrow deposit down. So now we're in these deals for $800, and we thought we know the area so well that we skipped the research, because one of the steps that we always do is call the county planning and zoning and ask them, is this property buildable? If we had done that step, we would have figured out that the county 25 years ago changed the rules, and now you have to have a minimum of an acre to build. So all those houses in the area were 25 years older. They were grandfathered in the old rules. Then they changed the rules, and that's why no more new houses were built, because all these lots were only half acre. So we were able to take 2 of these lots, combine them, sell them as 1 acre, and that flew off the shelf right away because people still wanted to build there. And on 5 of them, they were basically almost worthless. And well, we could sell them to the neighbor to expand their backyard and so on, but we ended up selling those basically at like for $500 each, and lost like, with closing costs, everything involved, lost like $500 to $1,000 per lot. So we lost $5,000. Out of 4,000 deals, that's pretty much the only five lots that we lost money on, and it wasn't a big deal. But the lesson learned was, don't ever think you're better than you are. Follow the freaking process step, and it'll be protecting you from losing money.
Yep, same thing. Every time I break, can you hear me?
Yes.
Every time I break my own rules, it always comes back to bite me. I know the rule. I know what happens if you don't do it. I think I'm going to get away with it that time, or mostly you're in a hurry. You have too much to do, so you try to shortcut something, and inevitably those are the ones that come back and bite you. So I think that's pretty impressive. So, I want everyone to go to 1000houses.com/land money. Land money. And I wanted you to check out, Jack's going to be giving away his kind of autobiographical account of how he came to this country, hardly even speaking the language, not speaking the language, and then became very successful. And the steps that it took him to go through mentally and the time that it took him to get to where he is today. Jack is very successful. He and his wife have built a tremendous business. He's been doing this strategy, I know, ever since I've known him. So he's not a shiny object guy. He may have tried other things. I'm sure he buys apartment complexes, and I know, because you have to do something. When you make money, you have to find a way to preserve it, or to get to that forever cash position to where that will end when you say it ends. You know, that cash flow will end when you say it ends. Other things like owner financing or fix and flip, they can end at any time, you know.
Right. And that's why I love what you do, and that's why I look at you also as a mentor, because you take that, what you do in the seller financing and flips and so on, and you roll that over into your asset class of self-storage and things like that. We do that in apartment complexes. So we have a portfolio. Initially, we did nothing but land. Like when we figured out this land business, we put our blinders on, and for 6 years, all we did was build up cash flow and cash in our life. One-time cash, temporary cash, as we call it. Like one-time cash is the cash sales, the flip. You get paid once. Temporary cash is the seller financing deals. We built it up to $70,000 a month in cash flow in our life. Then we had that plus cash sitting in the bank. And then the opportunity came in 2008-9 to buy houses at America's largest discount, right? So we ended up buying $200,000 houses for 40 grand, held on to them, rehabbed them a little bit, rented them out. We still own them, every single one of them. And they're now back worth $250,000. And then we also took cash from that and got our feet wet in improved real estate as landlords, right? And then right now we're selling 18 of these houses, rolling that money over into a 100-unit apartment complex and taking some of the other cash from land flips and so on and moving that into more apartment complexes, so that, and those just bring in cash with a holding horizon of like, hold on to those things for like decades is our goal on those. So, because that is then the true forever cash wealth generation. So we use our land flipping as our cash machine. I believe everyone, unless you're like a super high earning professional, then you should keep doing what you're doing, because if that thing, what you do, brings in $500,000, $1 million a year, keep doing that. But everyone else really needs to build a second leg to stand on as a cash machine that produces the cash, but then use that cash to roll it over into forever cash, wealth building, cash flow assets that give you depreciation, give you cash flow, give you tax benefits, give you true wealth.
Appreciation. So, man, go over there and check out the digital book, Forever Cash. It's a really interesting read, especially if this is a newer concept to you. Definitely go check it out. Go to 1000houses.com/land money. And, you know, Jack is the go-to guy for how to buy land and lots virtually. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people that specialize. It's pretty nichey. It gets down, and what you want when you want to get rich, you got to find a niche, right? So you got to get it down so that you can become an expert in all the little tiny minutia. Now you can go out there and you can pay the street, and it may run you out of business, the street, because the street's ruthless. Or you could invest a little money and team up with Jack and just learn what he's learned over a long period of time, learn it in a very short period of time, and have confidence, someone to bounce things off of if you want to get to that level, and don't have a bunch of anxiety about what you're doing, because someone has already proven this model, and you don't have to go invent it. And with the software and the contracts and the verbiage and the ads, and you just save yourself a lot of time. So get over there to 1000houses.com. There's all kinds of information over there. We like to give mostly content on these, you know, on the FaceTime here. But for people that are interested in getting involved and want to know more, just go to the show notes, 1000houses.com/land money. Hey, Jack, anything you want to say to people out there before maybe we wrap it up?
No, I mean I can just second what you say. Go check it out. We have a Facebook group also, which is all under 1000houses.com under /land money. Well, Mitch said he's going to put all the resources there. We have a Facebook group where our students are literally helping each other succeed. Where there's an average of 18 to 20 success stories, brand new success stories from our students being posted every single week. And it's not me posting them for them. It's them being so excited about their first deal that they're posting it right in the group. $10,000, $40,000, $137,000, $2,000 deals. Now, it's all over the place. But the point is the first deal is always the critical deal because it builds that confidence in your life. And so yeah, go check that out. There's more. We'll put a bunch of resources in there, and yes, we'll even put an electronic copy of the book there because for Crash book because it's officially out of print. I only own about 50 copies still at home, and other than that, it's only available on the secondary market at crazy prices. So you just want to get the free electronic copy, PDF copy on 1000houses.com/landmoney.
Yeah, so I really like that. And check out that Facebook page because, you know, it's one thing for Mitch and Jack to tout it, but go listen to the people that are actually doing it. You have a really good community there. You know, people are talking back and forth. It's a great place to form some camaraderie with some like-minded people that are in the trenches fighting the same battle, you know? And so you can, you know, if you decide to get involved in this, you can also have that community to help you through too. So it's all about getting help and resources. Everything that seems impossible, if you have the right help and the right resources, it's not impossible anymore. And you too can maybe quit your job or find your own financial independence. What this podcast is about, it's not whether you buy Jack's thing or you buy my thing, or I don't care what thing you buy. What this podcast is about is that you find your niche in life and you become financially free so that you can become the person that you're supposed to be and stop giving 2,600 hours a year to someone else and making it possible for them to be who they need to be. That's what the goal of this is. Dave Ramsey does the primal scream when people get debt free. Around this podcast, we ring the bell when people send in emails and say, because of what I learned on this podcast, I was able to quit my job and fire my boss. And now I can go to a soccer game anytime I want with my children. I can vacation as long as I want. No one's telling me what to wear. They don't tell me what time to get up. They don't tell me what time to go to bed. They don't tell me how long I can have for lunch. They don't tell me if I can be sick and how many days I can be sick. You know, the best advocates or the best, I want to say, students that we have, whether they're my students or Jack's students or anybody else's student, the best ones have that I've had enough of this crap meter pegged way over in the red. I mean, pegged so hard it's not even moving. It's just pegged over there in the red. I've had enough of this crap. I'm going to start spending some extra time after this job, in between this job, and I'm going to figure out how to leave this job.
That's you know what made the difference for my brother to come on board? They have a 3-year-old baby boy, and his wife got maternity leave, and then she had to come back, and she's now juggling a job where they ask her to do, where she went back only 50% of the time, but they're obviously asking her to do 100% of the job in 50% of the time while taking care of their son, and it's become too much, so much that I finally reached the point of, you said, the boiling point, the breaking point. I was
I've had enough.
I had enough. It took 18 years of doing that, of watching us, but finally their life situation has gotten to a point that it's no longer bearable. And the funny enough thing is that in spite of all the things they have, when the urge is big enough, you'll find the extra time because they don't really have extra time to go do this business. But guess what? If the urge is big enough, you start changing your priorities. You start saying no to certain things that you're spending your time on that is wasteful. And all of a sudden you go and find the time to do them. Just like you with your health, right? You had some wake-up calls and some things that all of a sudden the priorities changed. And look at you right now. Boom. Mitch 2.0, Mitch 3.0 is there. And I absolutely love it. By the way, congratulations to that.
Thank you very much. So I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I have a list of things that if I had to start over again, I keep a list in the background. This is one of the strategies on my list. If I ever had to start over again, it's on my list. I usually what happened is, I'm so far advanced and pretty well insulated. So I usually take young entrepreneurs that come to me and go, "What should I do?" I'll look at the list of that list, and I go, "Well, these are the things I would do if I had to start over again, or if I was 24 years old again, or 20 years old again. This is what I would do," and I give it to them, and wholeheartedly believe it's up to them to find out if it's a match or a fit. It works. You just have to work it. Nothing works if you don't work it. Nothing works if you don't work it. And there's no risk-free anything. There's always a little risk. You always have to put up a little bit, but go with a pro and eliminate as much of that risk as you can by getting educated. All right, brother. I'd like to thank my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. You need an IRA, or you have an IRA, or a 401k, or a solo 401k, a health savings account. If you have an account and you're not self-directing it, think about self-directing your account, rolling over to taxfreefuture.com. You take control, and we'll show you the kinds of things you can invest in. You can use your IRA to invest in lots that Jack's talking about. You can use your IRA to loan me money, or to loan Jack money, or to buy your own stuff. There's a whole world out there. Quit leaving your financial future to these yahoos on Wall Street. They do not give a crap about you. And even if they did give a crap about you, they don't control that machine. It's all, for me, gambling. So you want to get out of that where you feel like you're gambling, check it out, taxfreefuture.com. There's 37 little video vignettes there, and you won't believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you why they're not telling you, and we're going to tell you what to do about it. And then you can take it from there if you want to. No pressures, nothing. I'm just going to show you some things that a lot of people don't know. And you'll know they're true when you hear them. Taxfreefuture.com. Check it out. All right, Jack, we're out of here. I'd like to thank the audience. I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by to get you some Jack Bosch. And check out 1000houses.com/land money. Get your free book of digital book, Forever Cash. It's a good read. And also, check out livecom.com, livecom.com. There's a reason why my last 300 properties have only lasted 9 days on the market. I average 12% down, and I have 25,000 people that I can hit for 2 cents a piece to let them know when I have another owner-financed house available. That's why. Livecom.com plus a free Facebook account. It's all you need, and you don't have to worry about sales anymore. All right, we're out of here, guys. Bye, Jack. Thanks so much for being on.
Thank you for having me, Mitch.